So yep, we are live guys. So today we are going to play some Blitz and Bullet and try to improve our game, and at the same time try to have some fun. So it's going to be fun, so yep, let's begin. And if you want to play against me, you can just simply send me the challenge and it's going to be fun. So yeah, let's start. Let's start with 1d4, c4, and we can take the pawn, attack the queen, play e4, have a nice center, develop the knight, and okay, knight c6. So we are having two moves. We can push the pawn or play bishop b5. Pushing the pawn looks tempting, and yeah, and now there are many options. I'll go for bishop c4. If I go for bishop b5, black is having c6 check, c6, so it doesn't make any sense. Now I would simply like to castle. Bishop h5 trying to pin. Interesting move. Okay, then the idea is to play here, so I'll try to block it. And also at the same time developing the bishop. Knight comes over here, and now I can simply push the pawn. Pushing the knight back. And white is already winning because black is already having very poor development, whereas white is like too much ahead on development, and also at the same time having a good center, which signifies that white is already winning completely in this position. And we can take over here with a check, and can play knight to e5, centralize the knight, attack the bishop, pawn push over here. We can first take, give a check, and whenever your opponent's king is weak, try to keep the queens on the board. That's the first thumb rule in the game of chess. So I'll play queen f4 check with the idea of rook d1. Let's play rook d1, attack the queen. Maybe queen e7 is the move I'm expecting, though I'm still having bishop to d6, which is very strong. Queen b6. So what is the idea? I guess I can push. That's definitely one candidate move. I also want to push this pawn. Should I do it? I guess I should. I want to open up the e file. So first pushing e7 makes sense. And now rook e1. And I can already sense that how both the rooks are perfectly aligned on d and the e file. And this should be over in no time, I believe. The rook to d8. So I guess first removing a defender. Let's trade the rook. Queen takes, and now at least I can go for capturing the pawn for the very least. And the second that I'm able to see here is queen b3 with the idea of bishop over here, which definitely looks very interesting. And it's hard to defend this idea. You can't really protect the f7 square, so which makes the life of black so much difficult. And now the whole point here is I can even take over here. You can't take with the knight because it's pinned. So I can take now. If you try to take, I can take. You can't really take because the knight is pinned up. And yeah, checkmate is coming up. I can start with check. And yeah, I guess check over here maybe. Or I can just get the king over here and it's mate. Yep. So I would say a good game. Let's try to understand where did our opponent went wrong. So first of all, bishop f5 is definitely not the best. c6 or e6 makes sense because you are protecting the center. Bishop f5 is a move that gave up the center, and now white is already having two pawns in the center. Attacks the queen, and now e4. Having the full control of the center. Now my idea is to simply develop the minor pieces, which I did. And now pushing the pawn because the knight can't really enter because the knight is already very strong. So now bishop c4. I can also play bishop b5 check, but I was not really happy with c6. So that's why bishop c4, knight d7, short castle, bishop h5. And now my opponent's idea was to play knight over here because I can't really capture because the queen is hanging. So bishop over here, push, push. And I guess the way I played was pretty good. I took, and everything was winning. So now let's go for a new game. And let's try to play the Caro-Kann this time. Takes, knight to f6. Let's develop the bishop. Let's check over here. c6. So now as we have give up the light square bishop, the best is to put the pawns at the light square. So knight d7, d4, and now bishop d6 looks like a good move to me. Bishop d3. Okay. So queen b6 looks very interesting. I'm not allowing white's bishop to freely move up. And now c5 looks definitely an interesting move to be played. Because if it takes, I can take with the knight. I'm attacking the bishop, bishop to c2. And h6 is a move that can be played. But I'm a little bit worried about bishop g5, which is kind of like not feeling right. The question is how to continue and how to find a good plan. Maybe b4 is the idea of my opponent. I'm not sure, but maybe. I can simply fall back then, there's no problem to it. I believe I can short castle, because at the very least bishop g7 can be met with bishop e7. Knight to h5, okay. So definitely I can go for a take first, queen takes and g6. And that looks like a good idea. So I would like to go for it. And now, as the pawns are on the light squares, it kind of minimizes the attack of white's light square bishop, and now maybe bishop over here makes so much sense because I'm covering this bishop g7, all the dark squares, weaknesses, and this looks fine to me. Bishop g7, let's trade it. Okay, so my opponent definitely wants to keep the pieces on the board. I can definitely go for a take, like taking over here. Because bishop e7 can be met with rook e8. If you take, I can take the bishop. I'm at least a pawn up with a very happy position. The position looks good for me. Bishop b3. So definitely, like first taking makes maximum sense. And I can take over here and go for the endgame. Queen b7, maybe I can go for even like sacrificing the queen for the 2 rook, which should be winning. Let's go for it. And now bishop h6, bishop g7, I can just trade off the bishop and now just keep on pushing this pawn and eventually win the game. This should be winning. Okay, so yeah, this is the best try that white should do. I would first like to pull the bishop back. I can definitely take over here, but okay, my opponent's idea is to push, so that's something I don't want. So I'd first like to play h6. Maybe g5 can be another move, the next move. And now I can first attack the queen over here. And then maybe followed up by g5 looks a good move to me. Putting the pawns at the dark squares. with no real issue. And now maybe rook d8 attacking the bishop. Maybe some checks coming up. Okay, the queen is covering the d1 square, so it's not really possible, but it definitely looks good for black. I can't really take the bishop because the rook was hanging, so that's why. And now a5 looks a good move to me. Should I play it? I guess I can. So my opponent can't really push or take because the bishop is hanging, so I'm expecting him to play bishop b6. Okay, I can take at the very least. And now I can somehow get some counterplay with check, bishop check, g3 coming up, and yeah, maybe getting another rook into the game. Yep. So like one check is coming, but after king g7, okay, there is a problem now because there is a check in f8 check is also possible. Okay, the position is a bit mess, but I believe white is actually having some counterplay now. I have to give up the pawn. Another check coming up. Maybe king h7 is the move that I have to play. But then my opponent is having this check. That's the problem. So I have to play king g7. And now my opponent is having this queen f8. Okay, this is bad. This is actually bad. King h8. My opponent is at least having a draw up in his sleeve. I actually missed. I didn't saw queen f8. That was the big problem. And I guess, okay, now he's actually winning because it doesn't matter where I go. He's going to give a check and capture the rook. Now maybe he's going to pull the back and capture the rook. Here, queen g6 and the game is over. You can even capture the rook. Yeah, it's resignable, guys. Okay, so definitely I was winning, to be true. Like this is completely winning. Like if I try to analyze from the start, I felt the opening was quite well played by me with no real issues, and I took the initiative from here. Maybe taking on b3 was right, or much better, but I took over here. And here the main problem was, like, this is still fine, it's completely winning. I should have simply pulled the rook back, but here this was the biggest blunder because now white is having this check and now it's completely losing for me. So yeah, this was the main problem, but okay, let's keep on playing, guys. Let's play d4 still once again because I'm a d4 player. c4. So there is a tournament coming up on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm trying to get better. So I'm playing the opening that I usually play in the tournament, so that it would be good preparation for me. And at the same time, I would like to entertain you guys. e4. So yeah, knight f3. Keep on developing. We are a pawn up. We can take, we can push the pawn, take the knight to maybe a5 or maybe b4 or to b8. Knight b4 can be again kicked with a3. And now bishop c4 looks like a good move to me. My idea is to play e5 after short castle. I would first like to ask some questions with the bishop on g4. So first I would like to play h3, expecting him to take the knight, and I would like to recapture with the queen. And once again I'm having a very nice center. So yeah, take with the queen. Bishop d7, and now I can at least short castle. Or even pawn push looks pretty tempting to me. But first I want to simply short castle, keeping everything stabilized, and now e5 looks good, definitely. Expecting knight e8. Maybe I can push then. Maybe. Or I can even play a5. Stop his counterplay, and yeah, just giving him the move and saying that what is your idea. I wanted to push, but the point here is after takes bishop c6, and I don't see a... Okay, actually it's winning because the queen was hanging at the end of the day. Maybe bishop g5. Bishop g5 h6. Maybe bishop g5 looks good because I can provoke h6. I can take over here. And a push looks winning. He can't take because this is hanging. And this is coming up. This is coming up. And he's lost. Yep. So a very well played game by us. So let's play Caro-Kann once again. Though I feel that I'm pretty bad at playing Caro-Kann. Though still I would like to play this so that it would help me to improve my openings. So okay, knight c3. So what's the move? So the move is that we need to think. Knight c3. So our opponent is having IQP. So we can play e6. Have a normal position. Bishop b4 is our idea. Short castle. And we can just play some normal chess. Bishop b4. Expecting bishop d2 or something. Yep. Definitely can short castle. That's one of the options. But I believe just knight back to f6. Attacking this pawn. Let's simply short castle. I'm expecting bishop g5, bishop e7. And now my idea is to play knight b4 with knight d5. It's the standard idea of playing such a position. With b6, bishop e7. And I'm already feeling pretty comfortable, to be true. Just need to make sure nothing is getting wrong here. I'm not blundering anything. b6, the idea is bishop b7, knight d5. And the position is extremely solid for black with absolutely no problems, I feel. Queen e3, some checkmating ideas. So maybe g6 and nothing is happening. I have to play g6. Bishop h6 can be met with rook e8. Like bishop b7 is coming up. I'm not really feeling scared because my position is pretty stabilized. I'm thinking maybe takes is his idea. If it's coming, that's insane. If that's working, then that's insane. Knight to c6 is also coming at the same time, so I have to play bishop b7, at least for now. Bishop b7, then I'll see what he plays. Maybe he can take, Or maybe it's not working. Like at least take 6 ticks. I'm not really forced to take the rook. So yeah, feeling pretty comfortable. That looks like maybe something is happening. Maybe h4 h5 can be a deadly idea. Queen to g3. Okay. Can I take? Take pawn takes. Is anything happening? Is something happening? Knight h5 looks good to me. I can trade some pieces. Because in the endgame is going to be definitely good for me because... Okay, first I need to think. I'm having two ways to capture. I would like to capture with the queen, I guess. So yeah, the endgame is definitely going to be good for me because white is having an isolated pawn, which makes the endgame definitely best for me. Queen to g4. Now pulling this knight back looks much more interesting to me because it opens up my bishop and also attacks the queen and also give me some chances to attack the deep pawn. And okay, queen over here. Interesting. g4, I'm having knight g7 with absolutely no problem. I think I can... No. I feel I should try to protect. I should try to protect my queen. Is this coming? I guess not. This is not really coming up. Double sacrifices on g6. Looks pretty tempting. Though I believe it's not really coming up. Rook e8, and now my idea is to simply move the knight, trade off the queens, have a good endgame, better endgame. Maybe knight d5 can also be can work. Knight d5. Let's trade everything. Go into an endgame where I'm simply better up. Queen h6, okay. Can I jump with knight to f4? Which is a very tempting move. I've got to play this. Knight to f4, attacking the pawn. g3 is met with knight h3 or even g4 is met with knight h3. Followed by queen h4. g2 is hanging. I would like to give a check. King f1. And now maybe queen f6 looks tempting to me. Maybe. Queen f6, knight g4, queen f3. Oh yeah. I can even go for capturing the pawn, attack the knight and the pawn at the same time. Or even queen f3 works, I still attack both the pieces. So definitely this looks good for black. Knight over here. I can take. Because I'm already threatening a mate in one. So yeah, zero mistakes, zero blunders, zero misses. Let's try to analyze the game a bit. Like e6, I believe is a fine move. Bishop b4, knight f6, bishop e7, knight. Okay, knight b4 is definitely a very standard way to approach the position. b6, a3, knight over here, g6, and knight h5 now. And I believe maybe knight f4 was still working in this position, g3, but I was not really sure about this. Though the engine is showing that it's completely winning, like queen g5 is coming up or what? I'm not sure, like it is showing that it's completely winning. The question is, where's the win? f5 maybe? Yeah, f5 is actually winning because you have to leave the control. But still I played it pretty safe. Check, queen over here. White is having a slight advantage. But then he simply blundered mate in 1 and I won. Let's keep on playing, guys. Let's move on to the next game. Let's play knight f6. d5. So he's playing the London system with knight c3, which is fine, definitely, it's nothing wrong. But I'm just recalling, like, c5 is the move or what? Like, is c5 the move? c5 takes knight c6, maybe. And now knight b5. I can still play e5, I guess. And now maybe just knight to e4. Push is coming. Okay, so this is the only idea white is having. Knight c6, knight b5, and I simply fell for it. That's pretty insane. I should have first played a6, or I should have took and then played a6. Bishop d3, maybe not the best. And now I can actually play first bishop e6. His idea is to take, definitely. Take and take over here. So I'm thinking to play queen f5 check, making him to play c3. Let's give a check. Make him play c3. And then maybe c4. I'm not sure, maybe c4. c3 by him. Now I can actually play a6 by myself. Attack the knight. I want him to get rid of, like, I want him to get somehow remove this knight from the b5 square. So it makes sense. a6 and try to hit the knight. Yeah, so we have a4, which definitely looks like a blunder to me. If he takes, we can take the rook. And it feels completely winning for black now. Okay, so we are reconnecting. Maybe our connection is a bit bad, though it's good enough to beat this opponent. But definitely our connection is actually bad. So maybe you guys can face some streaming issues. I can definitely go for capturing the rook, but why to allow our opponent to have any kind of counterplay when at the same time we are just a rook up? So why to give him any counterplay? Short castle, that's it. Let's trade everything. I definitely don't mind at all. Thank you for the game. Let's move on to the next game. If you want to play, you can just send the challenge and I would be happy to play with you. Knight c3, expecting bishop g7. We have the Grunfeld. I should have played the Russian, but that's fine. Bishop c4, knight e2 is the move. Bishop g4, we have this. Okay, we can short castle maybe. Takes, and yeah, short castle makes sense. I think like the first move is to first play c5. Queen to c7, bishop f4 maybe. Bishop f4, e5, bishop g3, cd, cd. Bishop is hanging. Maybe not. Maybe pushing the pawn? I don't know, maybe. Like I wanted to play bishop f4, but e5 is a move that I'm not a big fan of. Now bishop f4. Attacking the queen. Expecting him to play e5. Maybe. Queen f5, I'm having queen b3, I believe. Like nothing is wrong with queen b3. I can protect the pawn on c3. And yeah, that's fine. I believe I just need to get this rook to d1. Or yeah, just rook d1. I can first play f3. Bishop d7 can be met with takes over here. And I don't see a big problem. I'm attacking the rook. How is he going to defend it? If bishop c3, I would first like to take over here. And then only I would think what to do next. Queen into b7. Okay, so he played this. He's losing a knight. What's happening? Take second, we can take the knight. We can take the bishop. We can actually take over here. And this is winning for us. And yeah, the opponent resigned. And we won. Yep. So let's move on to the next game. Okay, let's play French this time. d5 is the main move. Takes can met simply with ed, can met with ed. Takes can met with takes over here. Take over here, take over here. But I can even take with this on c5. Maybe. Just like first checking the pawn over here. It's fine, but okay. Knight f6, attacking the bishop. Bishop d3, knight c6. Somehow the other way. Okay. You have knight c6. c3 by white. The idea is to play b4 definitely. Let's play a5. Bishop e3, okay. Looks interesting. Can we take? Okay, we can take. It doesn't feel bad to me. And on knight e5 looks good because the bishop is extremely strong, so at the same time I was threatening knight c4. Bishop d7 trying to cover the light square weaknesses. Bishop c6 is our next idea. And I'm not sure, maybe we could have played the knight to g4. Okay, we have f3. which kind of allows me to play knight to h5, going knight g3. And then what is his idea exactly? And I'm actually even having a better move, which is knight to d5 check. And putting my knight on f4 with at least a good position. And now knight d3 can come in. And the position looks good for black, at least. And I guess now our opponent has finally collapsed. The stream, I guess, is a bit delayed. We are literally like 1 minute ahead or something. And okay, we can take the pawn over here. Rook b1, we have knight to a4. And yeah, what to play? We can push. Opponent's idea is to put the knight to maybe d4. Maybe on d4. So if we would first like to pull the knight back, attacking the pawn, maybe knight c5 can also be an idea at the same time. I'm expecting him to play rook to c1. And yeah. Even this looks like a nice maneuver to me. So using knight requires maneuvering ideas so that you can use knight to up to its 100% capacity or 100% power. We have pawn push. Makes sense. But now I guess we can play this with the idea of giving a check on f5. The knight can't really move because this is hanging. So let's see how is our opponent going to react. Opponent played rook to c1, so we would first like to start with a check, though he's having this move. So first I would like to pull the knight back to c5. And now he played g4. So how can we continue? Can we push the pawn to over here? The idea is to take the pawn. Opponent played this, so at least we can take. I can check on h3, maybe. Let's give him a check. King f2, I'm expecting him to play. Followed by knight e4 check. Knight e4, bishop e4. And the position looks good for black, at least. Because definitely black is a pawn up. So why should black not be better? Knight f3, okay. How to continue? Can we push the pawn to f6 somehow? And take with the knight? Rook to a1, okay, so and I have to take over here and king f7 because rook h8 was a deadly move coming up. So first playing king f7 makes sense. And now maybe we can go for the rook trade as well, because as I said, because we are already a pawn up, a clean pawn up, so it makes sense. Pushkin met with a check and capturing the pawn. Maybe rook over here is a move, but it's winning, and we won pretty nicely, guys. So let's move on to play one more game. Let's play 1d4 once again. c4, knight to c3, followed by knight f3, bishop f5. I think bishop f5, queen b3 also looks interesting, queen b6. But I would first like to take the pawn with the pawn, and a queen b3. That's the most concrete way to win a pawn. To actually win a pawn. b7 is hanging, it's hard to defend. Queen b6 is met with knight into pawn. How is black going to defend the pawn? Queen b3. Let's wait for him to make the move. Guys, if you are loving the stream, enjoying it, then make sure to like, share and subscribe. So I believe we can take over here first of all. And now we can play bishop f4. Because now black is not really having rook b8. And also at the same time we are threatening some knight b5, or at least we are threatening bishop c7 ideas. Which does make sense. Bishop b7. Let's play h3 first. I want to make the room for the bishop to go back on h2. And now let's play e3. e3 with the idea of bishop e2, short castle, and that makes sense. Knight to b6. Okay, interesting move. Definitely interesting. Maybe knight c4 is the idea. Let's put the bishop to e2. h6, and now we can simply short castle with the clean pawn up. Now knight e5, knight c6 are the ideas I am looking forward to. Knight c4 is also an idea from the black side, though it doesn't make any sense to be true. We can take over here and can play knight e5. Rook b8 is met with queen c6, queen b3, queen b5, queen b3, and the queen somehow manages to escape. So knight e5, you can't move your this rook. Okay, so we have this move, though I guess we can play this, like maybe this. Though he's having knight d7. How to play? Let's play a4, a5. That looks interesting to me. Like rook b8 is again comes with queen into a6, and we are one step ahead of making a queen. So knight to e4. We can take at the very least, and can push the pawn to a5. And this looks something wrong for black. Like first of all, we can trade, make a fourth queen trade, take over here, and now can push the pawn, forcing him to somehow play some rook a7 stuff or something. Bishop into a6. We don't really care about losing a pawn over here because this pawn is already just too strong. Just a second, guys. Okay, so I guess guys, let's keep it the last game of today because I'm already very tired. So keeping it the last day for today makes sense. It's winning. We are having this rook c8. He can't do anything. Can? I don't think so. He has to resign. And with this, we can end the stream. It was fun. Excuse me. The rook c8 coming up. Is that opponent has gone offline or something? Just 3 seconds away. And with this, we won the game. So again, once again, a very nice game played by us. So guys, thanks for watching. It was once again very much fun to do this live stream and enjoy ourselves by playing some Blitz. Next time it's going to be even much fun. So yep, so I'm going to be signing off for now. So yeah, so make sure to watch, like, share and subscribe if you loved the stream. So I'm going to see you soon. So yep, bye bye.